16 December 2012. One of the most gory acts in human history was witnessed as six men brutally tortured and raped an Indian woman in a public bus. This day changed India permanently as the issue of women's safety clouded over the country like a dark, stormy nightmare. The incident also permanently changed my life as I made it my mission to tackle the problem of women's safety and pledged to take action. 6 years from the day, as the dark clouds are still dissipating, public spaces in India feel no safer for women. As I did more research on this, I realized that this problem is not only specific to India but is a plague that is affecting the entire world. Here are some of the shocking findings from around the globe as reported in a UN report that highlight how big of a global problem this is. Ho Chi Minh City. Women often fear violence when moving around the city. A manager at a university said, open quotes, girls are afraid to go out and travel through public spaces, thus limiting their access to services and learning. Sexual harassment and violence have been a major mental and emotional impact on survivors. Sometimes, girls might not have experienced it, but just hearing of experiences shared by their peers or cases in newspapers makes them fearful. I don't dare allow my 13-year-old daughter to go out at night. I have to constantly tell her to be careful. End quotes. Dublin, Ireland. In Dublin, a scoping study showed that sexual harassment is a frequent and distressing occurrence for women and girls. Urban design problems were identified as a major reason for women's fear in accessing public spaces. Rabat, Morocco. A study to inform Rabat's Safe City program found that 92% of women had experienced some form of sexual harassment in their lifetime. The majority of men said that they had at least once in their lifetime sexually harassed women in public spaces. Mexico City, Mexico. In Mexico City, the Colegio de Mexico conducted a scoping study in collaboration with UN Women, authorities, and other partners. It found that the majority of women participants had experienced some form of sexual violence in their daily commute. 3/4 of women who travel daily in the city use public transport, relying on it more than men and making many more trips a day to harmonize different activities. The list could go on. As you can see, this is a problem that exists in almost all major cities in the world, and if you think your city is free from such problems, then maybe it is time to think again and pay more attention. It is a fact that most girls around the world are scared to go out and travel through public spaces, thus limiting their access to services and learning. This is a critical problem that needs immediate attention, and there is a design shift that needs to happen in how public spaces are designed. So, how do you make public spaces safer for women? We propose safe zones as the first step in redesigning of public spaces in an effort to make traveling in public spaces safer for women. What are safe zones? Safe zones are clearly marked, designated zones commissioned in various strategic points in a city where anyone can feel safe. Why is one safe in safe zones? Safe zones are areas where there is active surveillance 24/7, thus scaring off offenders and allowing people to spend as much time as they desire here without the feeling of danger. Surveillance already exists in cities. How is this going to solve the problem? Yes, surveillance does exist, but the way surveillance is deployed right now is that cameras are hidden away in an attempt to catch offenders after they commit an offense. That is, surveillance is currently used as a tool for evidence after a crime has been committed, but we see surveillance can be used to prevent crime. This can be achieved by loudly announcing a safe zone and the existence of surveillance within it. This will detract offenders by scaring them away. Also, it is impossible and inefficient for humans to track all the cameras at all times. Thus, we will be using artificial intelligence to automatically flag and detect any offense and bring this to the attention of the cops to a central control room. The nearest cops are also alerted about the suspicious event. The cop will be able to stream the feed to his phone to assess the situation. The safe zones also contain a two-way microphone that can be activated by a cop. The microphone can also be used by cops as a first line of offense to shun away danger. If the situation demands further action, the cop can carry out his duties by reaching the spot immediately. In this case, we are reducing the response time to nearly zero, and as the location of the danger is already known, the cops can swing into action without the victim needing to take any action at all. Safe zones will also have a distress button that can be activated for the victim to signal danger. This button can be used to signal an active danger in case the system fails to pick it up. It can also be used as a mechanism for a victim to report an offense that they have been subjected to in a bus commute that just ended, and report all details from the spot, again allowing the cops to react within no time to catch the offender. So, where will the safe zones be located? Safe zones will be located across many strategic connecting points in a city. We can start this off by having dedicated spaces being converted to safe zones in all bus stops and train stations. Then, this can be extended to many more points in the city where anyone can safely wait for their Uber or a family member to pick them up without having to constantly look over their shoulder. Here is a demo of how the dashboard will look for a cop to access from a central control station. This is the map of the city that the cop can use to scroll across. All the safe zones in the city are denoted by camera icons that are overlaid on the map. The cop can click on any of these cameras to look at the feed from a safe zone. In this, the cop can see the number of offenses that have been picked up and also an indicator if anything needs immediate attention. Through the implementation of safe zones, we can make public spaces safer for women, thus allowing them the basic right of accessing any public spaces in pursuit of their finding opportunities, education, or entertainment. We understand that the problem of safety in public spaces cannot be entirely tackled through the introduction of safe zones, but it can be a huge step towards tackling the problem and making public spaces as accessible to women as they are to men.